What's going on, guys? So it's another fun day out here at the property. Going to be swapping blades out on my Cheetah 2 and on my Toro. I kind of did something I probably shouldn't have done, and I caught myself like halfway through it, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Then I realized after doing some research that I really shouldn't have, so I'm going to be fixing something that I caused yesterday. Probably wouldn't have been a big issue, but basically what I did was the Cheetah blades, which I have one sitting right over here, are pretty dang dull, and you can see the rounded edge, and that is after, I don't know, I think these are the original blades that I had on here. Let me see. That is 21.3 hours on the Skag, and that's what these 1/4 inch thick OEM blades look like. I have the original blades to replace it with, but I couldn't find them. So I found my Toro blades. Now here's the difference. The Toro has a 60-inch deck. The Skag has a 61-inch deck, which makes each blade, at least from the specs, a 21-inch blade on the Skag and a 20.5-inch blade on the Toro. I found my Toro blades and I went ahead and installed those on the Skag. And then I came out this morning and realized that I found my Skag blades, which are 21-inch blades, 1/4 of an inch end to end, which means the overall difference between the two blades is a 1/2 inch. Now, I don't know if that's going to impact or if that would impact the cutting performance, but the thing I kind of realized is that if I keep the Toro blades on here, whenever it comes time to swap the Toro blades out, I'm not going to have the right blades for those, especially if I found the 21-inch blades that go on the Skag, because I couldn't put the 21-inch blades on the Toro, whereas even if the Toro blades fit on the Skag, again, I'll be using the wrong application. And what I decided to do was go ahead and just fix everything the right way. Got the Skag back up. I'm going to remove the 20.5-inch Toro blades from the Skag, which everything fit properly. The center hole diameter was the same. It's just the ends were a 1/4 inch shorter, which means when you take two blades, it would be a 1/2 inch between the two of them. So instead of risk it, I'm going to just remove the Toro blades from the Skag, put them on the Toro, because the Toro probably needs some sharp blades at this point. And I found the correct blades to put on the Skag, so we're just going to make sure everything is right at this point. Now, for those lawn professionals out there, you know, for these wider deck mowers, would it have hurt if I ran a 20.5-inch blade on a 21-inch blade required deck? Basically, would that 1/2 of an inch cause much of an issue? Now, they offset the blades. So this blade's here, the next blade's up here, and the other blade's back here, so they kind of overlap each other right around this area. Would that be a big deal? You know, if I ran a blade that's essentially a 1/4 inch shorter, overall a 1/2 inch shorter if you account for two blades, or would the overlap between the two be just fine? For those lawn care professionals out there, I probably could just ping my buddy Brian over at Brian's Lawn Maintenance, because he's an expert in all this. But for those folks who run mowers and swap blades out frequently, would that have been a big deal? Now, again, I think the bigger obstacle would have been if I didn't have blades for the Toro. Would the 21-inch blade from the Skag fit the Toro? And I don't think it would have. I think I would have possibly had contact somewhere. So I think this all makes sense what I'm trying to do. I just want to pull the Toro blades off of here, throw them on the Toro, and put the correct blades on the Cheetah. Anyways, that's what I'm doing today. Super, super easy. On the Toro, you get underneath and you pull the bolts out of the spindles and the blades just drop out. On the Skag, it's a little different. I take the nut off the top here. A long bolt, about 6 inches long, drops out, and that's what holds the blade on. And then for the center blade, I just take this one off. It drops out the same way. Now, when I did this yesterday, the bolts on this side and that side were really easy to get out. The center bolt, we had to take like a screwdriver and kind of punch it out, but it didn't take too much effort. I don't think you should grease that. Somebody can probably correct me if I'm wrong, only because I imagine you don't want the blade not to spin with the spindle, so greasing that could probably cause that to be an issue. But yeah, it all worked out. It was really quick, so we're going to be doing it today too. Basically, I'm just going to take the retaining nuts off of the top, drop the bolt out, and swap the blades out with the correct size blades. Okay, so I've dropped it out of the spindle. Here's the bolt, spacer. That just comes off of here like that. And I use these Copperhead made in the US brand blades. Again, 21-inch blade for Skag. Just going to put this on here, put the spacer back on, slip them back up through the spindle right there, and put the retaining bolt on the top. Shouldn't take any time at all. We're going to go ahead and swap all three out. Okay, Skag's all done. We're going to raise the front of the Toro up. This makes it so much easier. All right. There we go. Got the brake set on the bad boy. Got tire chocks behind the Toro and a jack stand under the bucket. And these come off a little easier. You just take that bottom bolt off right there, and the blades just drop out. Now these have a mulching blade on them, which is actually, well, it's not too dull, but it is pretty dull. You might be able to see the edge right there. We're going to replace these with, again, these copperhead blades. You know, mulching versus copperhead, don't really know if there's much of a difference, but these blades are a little thinner than the copperheads I'm putting on there, so we'll see. Anyways, time to swap the blades out. Okay, so here's the new blade I'm putting in, and here's the one I'm removing. These are made by Oregon, which is a very popular brand, but you can see the front of them are pretty dang dull, and you can see there's some damage to them as well. And these have been on the mower now for probably about 30 hours. 30 or 40 hours. These are a lot sharper. Now, guys, again, here's another area, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I read somewhere, actually a couple different places, that you don't want the edge of the blade to be like razor sharp. Otherwise, they can dent a lot easier and they can become duller a lot quicker versus, you know, a nice, clean, sharp edge, just not like razor sharp. I know a lot of folks will grind these down until they look like they're razor blades, but again, from what I've read, you don't want them to be that sharp. You want them to be nice and sharp. You just don't want them to be so sharp that you can cut yourself on them. But leave a comment below. I'd love to know what your thoughts are and if that's true or not. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get the new blades on. The interesting thing here is you can see this blade's like 2 inches versus this blade's like 2.5 inches in terms of width. This blade's thicker though, so this blade's a 1/4 inch thick. This one's a little thinner than that. Anyways, we're going to quickly put them on. It's just putting the bolt through into the spindle, and these are a little easier to install than the Skag. Okay, so we have all 3 blades replaced. Went on relatively easy. That center one was super, super, super tight. And I don't know if I recall tightening it down as much as it was, but you can definitely see where they come really close to the edge. If I would have tried to put the Skag blades on here, they wouldn't have fit. They would have rubbed right here, and the tolerances are really close, but these seem to be pretty good blades. This one right here, you can see, took quite the impact, and they're quite dull as well. Interesting thing though, these little mulching fins up here don't wear down nearly as bad as these little fins are on here. Well, of course, these have a way for sand to kind of funnel through, and that's probably why. But yeah, that wasn't too difficult, other than that middle one being kind of jammed up. And I'm using a pretty strong DeWalt impact driver, so that thing had to have been really tight. Anyways, let's go ahead and get everything cleaned up, lower the mower back down so I can get ready to use it again. Okay, so now that we have all that wrapped up, did some things over here. So if you didn't see the video I shot on putting this thing together, got it from Lowe's. It was on clearance. It's normally about $750. We got it for $695, so it wasn't that much off, but my wife had been eyeballing this thing forever. I hung some LED lights around the inside of it, so it looks absolutely gorgeous at night. We'll probably hang another one from the top center here, since the end of these LED lights has a plug that I can just plug into, route it up there. We moved the furniture that was over here into this space, so now looks really relaxing. We have a swamp cooler right here. Not that it gets dry enough to use the humidity, but it certainly moves air throughout here and feels real nice. So that's really nice. This AC is not very loud, so that's nice. The generator is very loud, so you really probably wouldn't want to be out here while the generator is going. But it turned out really nice. Gonna be honest with you, we really didn't know what we were going to use this space for after we had it all, boarded up and decked going out to the pool. But now it's this perfect transition between the back of the home this way out to the pool. And it also provides some shade. When the kids are outside playing, the parents can watch, see what's going on over here, or weekend whenever our daughter's out there, or any of her friends. But it turned out really, really nice, and it uncluttered this area right here. We still have the little dining room set out here as well, and this seats 6 people. And then we have the seating area way back there that I showed you in another video. But it is beautiful out here. It's an absolutely gorgeous day, a bit on the warm and humid side. But aside from that, pretty happy with how everything's turning out here. There are some areas of the cabin here that definitely need some work, need some maintenance. We're in the process of kind of figuring out what we're going to do with the home and how we're going to either expand it or remodel it, or what type of transformation it's going to go through. But meanwhile, we have some really nice areas out here. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And now that the shade is here, and we have some air that we can blow through here, plus this is really nice and open, it really makes for a nice relaxing space that we can watch the kids play, watch them swim, and just really enjoy it out here. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed the video. It's a lot of work out here. Definitely is. It's kind of funny because anytime I have teenagers or other family members out here and they're helping, they definitely understand what it's like to work a hard day. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again real soon.